industry-leading genetics, extensive local breeding and testing, top-performing products. Developed specifically for your field. Visit pioneer.com/what's next to learn more.
It's time for RealAg Radio on Rural Radio Channel 147 on Sirius XM. RealAg Radio and RealAgriculture.com is your home for insight and analysis of the issues that are impacting your farm business. Let's get real and get connected with RealAg Radio. Welcome to RealAg Radio here on Rural Radio 147 at Sirius XM. Shaun Haney, your host here on this Thursday, Halloween edition of the show. Thanks so much, everybody, for making RealAg Radio and Rural Radio 147 a big part of your workday. Also, everybody listening out there on the RealAg Radio podcast, we do appreciate it. It's the Farmer Rapid Fire today, as we do every single Thursday. It's the Halloween edition, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. You know, Pioneer brand canola with Optimum Gly. You got to check it out. I know this is the time of the year where you're booking your canola hybrids for the 2025 season. You got to consider Pioneer brand canola with Optimum Gly, the highest yielding glyphosate tolerant trait on the market. What's next in canola happens here. Go to pioneer.com/Canada to find out more. Well, today on the show, we got Shaun Schill. He's from Ontario. We've got Bruce Hill from Ontario. Leslie Kelly is from Saskatchewan. Landon Friesen is from Manitoba. And the Pioneer Seeds agronomist today is going to be Doug Moisey out of Alberta. If you have any feedback, send me an email, shaney@realagriculture.com. You can find Real Agriculture across all the different social media platforms, or you're more than welcome to call the Real Ag feedback line. Now, that number is 855-776-6147. And we start off this week's Farmer Rapid Fire in Arthur, Ontario, and we're talking to Shaun Schill. Hey, Shaun, how's it going?
Not too bad. Yourself, Shaun?
Pretty good. Okay, y'all ready for Halloween?
Halloween's kind of yeah, I guess you could say we're ready for Halloween, but it's not too involved for us as parents anymore. Our kids are at the age where they go and enjoy Halloween on their own. So, it's an exciting time of the year for the kiddos, though. So we'll expect to see some at our door tonight.
Well, at Shawridge Farms, how many trick-or-treaters do you think you'll get?
We are in the country, so like normally we would probably get 5 or 6. It's not that we're overrun by any means, but it's kind of neat to see some of the neighboring kids from time to time, and it's actually almost kind of like an annual event where you haven't seen them since last Halloween, and it kind of reminds you that time marches on.
Yeah, that's a good point. Do you ever have any neighbors come over with the kids and they kind of settle in, and all of a sudden it's one trick or treat stop and they just stopped at your house?
No, we haven't quite had that happen just yet, but at one point in our life that probably was what would happen. We would have come in for a trick or treat, and there was usually some tricks for the parents, and had a bit of fun for an hour or more, and then they moved on their way. But it's not. We're getting to the age that doesn't happen as much anymore.
Yeah, in some ways, it doesn't feel like Halloween, and I say that from the standpoint of how far along the Ontario harvest is.
It's actually amazing how far along the Ontario harvest is. For the most part, I would say that I know ourselves, we have a few little acres of beans to do here yet, 2 or 3 days, but for the majority of the province, the beans are in the bin. Corn harvest is well underway. It's actually been a fabulous September, October in regards to harvest weather and wheat planting weather, and it's almost amazing how much work has been done here, and even to the point where people are wrapping up and they're prepping ground and soil and stuff for fertility for next year already. So it's good to see. It's finally it's good to see that happen. It always when you get to this point and you can get things done for next year, you just gives you a head start on next year.
From a yield standpoint, how have you made out?
I don't know. It's For us ourselves, our wheat crop was probably, I think it was about our top third crop. So it was a very, very strong crop, and provincial averages, Agriculture averages showed that. We had a strong wheat crop. We had a very strong canola crop, which is not, canola for us is it's not normal in our area much anymore. We do grow a fair bit of it yet, but had a decent crop. Spring cereals were good. No complaints there. Still a decent, strong crop. Then we move into bean harvest, and bean harvest was actually, I think, probably for the most part, for most people, it surprised to the downside. It's, there was still some good yield out there, and most of the yields are probably not anything that anybody should really complain about. But watching this bean crop majority of the year, you kind of thought that we would have had some, stronger averages. For the most part, I would say most beans came in the door at, anywhere from that 48 to, 55 bushels kind of would, grab most of the bean crop. There were certainly beans out there that were 60, 70, maybe 80 bushels out there, some very strong crops. But I think on average, the bean crop was probably on the, surprised most folks to the average side, or even just a slight disappointment. The corn crop was the exact opposite of that. So obviously with the September weather that we had, the October weather that we had, we certainly filled that, those corn plants, corn cobs to the max. And, there are certainly some very strong yields out there. I haven't heard of anybody that really, has a disappointing crop in any way. And, some of the saturated areas like around London, yeah, it's an up and down crop. But overall, the average is, is going to be very strong. It's going to be a strong crop.
Yeah, I haven't had to use that dryer very much.
No, and that's actually, it's phenomenally good thing. Like, even reports in October, mid-October of, farms in the Huron-Bruce area that, are essentially just delivering dry corn right out of the field. And, is it once in a lifetime? Well, I've seen it once before in my lifetime. But, it's very abnormal to have corn come out of the field in Ontario that goes straight to a bin without even seeing a dryer. But for the most part, even at 18, 19, 20% for what we're seeing for inbounds right now, that's, that still is phenomenally good. With all the consideration, even that, spring weather had some delayed planting on the corn side. And, that always kind of plays into a more of a wet corn harvest, and is the exact opposite. So it's great to see.
What are you figuring right now for 2025 crop planning? I know you look at your numbers, you know them well. Are you concerned about what you see on the horizon for us if we keep the status quo?
The market certainly is going to dictate some acres here. But I think, overall, my guess would be, if there's any operations that are, trying to manage risk, whatever, they're going to probably look at lower risk crops, maybe such as soybeans. I'm going to be very interested to see what happens with, what the final wheat acre number is in Ontario. With the weather the way it was, I would almost have guessed in any normal year, if the wheat price would have been a bit stronger, we would have seen record acres planted. From what I'm seeing visually, I don't know if we're going to have a record crop. So I'll be very interested to see that final planted number come out, and just it's going to be higher than last year without a doubt. But I'm kind of wondering if guys think there seems to be lots of open bean dirt or bean stubble yet. So it makes me really wonder if we're going to see a record. I think it's going to be a strong acre number, but it won't be a record, in my opinion. Corn acres, I would say, the bean and corn acres are probably just going to stay stable, in my opinion. Unless the market really moves one way or the other, I would say the beans are probably still going to be looked at as, the lower risk crop, for budget reasons, and it's still going to have decent acres next year. So, obviously there's a lot of, market and looking for positive margins are going to be kind of thin this winter, and guys are going to have to really hunker down and figure out what their true cost of production is, and make sure that they're acting accordingly.
Well, many of us will be glad when the U.S. election is over on Tuesday, for sure.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say it like that, but I just almost I try to turn it off almost, because it's almost overwhelming. Anytime you open any type of news source right now, that's all you're seeing. And for the most part, a lot of us will be glad it's over. Now, depending on who wins, and it certainly looks like Trump is leading, but until the last vote is counted, you really don't know. But what does he do once he's in? If he decides to take on a very protectionist type stance on trade, that we've seen the last time when Trump decided to engage on tariffs with China and all these other things. That certainly hurt the bean price. So I think the market in a way is already seen, or is reacting to that. And maybe some of the downside that we see right now has that built into it, but it'll be interesting to see if he gets back in, if he decides to take that same stance, how the market will react to it. Yeah,
and Vice President Harris has her own version of protectionist. If you look into the Biden administration, they've been somewhat pro-tariff in some regards too. So it's going to be interesting for countries like Canada and Mexico and the European Union to sort of sort through this once the dust settles on next Tuesday.
For sure, yep. And the world will be just glad that it's over too, one way or the other.
Yeah, well, just you talk to the people that are in those swing states, and the amount of commercials, radio, TV, it's it's pretty tiring. Hey, Shaun, thanks so much for joining us here today on the Farmer Rapid Fire. Really appreciate it.
No problem. Take care.
Hey, we'll be right back on RealAg Radio, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. Farmers, are you ready to boost your crop yields while improving soil health? Resurge, the next generation humic product from Helena Products Group. Steve Cowan of Crop Management Network talks about why they sell Resurge over other humic products.
That's what I like when I heard about Resurge, is that we can use it through an air drill and put it in furrow, which when I look at a humic product, I think that's where it should be.
Visit your local ag retailer or check out helenaagra.com. Put life back into the soil with Resurge.
If you're involved in the agriculture industry, it's important to stay informed on all the latest issues affecting your business. At RealAgriculture.com, we offer fast, reliable news, information, and insights to help you keep on top of all of the latest in Canadian agriculture. Visit RealAgriculture.com and sign up for our free daily newsletter covering everything from news, agronomy, animal agriculture, and much more. Visit RealAgriculture.com/subscribe today.
I'm Lindsay Smith from RealAgriculture.com. Join me Monday nights for The Agronomist, a 1-hour live and interactive show broadcast across YouTube, Facebook, and X. Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, I host expert agronomists from all over the country to give you answers to some of the toughest agronomic questions. Join us live or catch the replay Tuesday morning. That's The Agronomist with me, Lindsay Smith, Monday nights live at 8 p.m. Eastern.
And we take the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada, to Kinburn, Ontario. We're talking to Bruce Hill. Bruce, great to have you back on the show.
Great talking to you, Shaun.
Yeah, so what's happened on the farm this week?
We're busy with harvest, hitting the corn full bore. Everything else has been tidied up. We've had incredible weather, and yeah, we're just rolling along really well.
Yeah, we definitely had some weather to cooperate with you, right? Like it has been pretty sweet in that regard.
Yeah, it's too hot today.
Crazy. It's the end of October.
Yeah, it's 24 degrees yesterday, and I think we're trying to reach that again today. And it's quite different. It's been an incredible September and October, and as we head into November here, it's been something. It's certainly has changed the year around.
It almost makes you feel like it's not even Halloween.
No. You're expecting maybe sleet or rain or dreary weather for Halloween, but no, it certainly doesn't feel normal.
Yeah. These kids nowadays don't know what a real Halloween is when it's minus 30 and there's wind blowing, and they don't.
No,
we had it way worse.
Costumes were made to keep you warm, right? That was part of the curriculum for costumes.
Yeah, exactly. All costumes had to fit over a parka. That's what I remember. Yeah, I remember that. You gonna get a lot of trick or treaters at the farm there?
Not too many, no. We get maybe 3 or 4, or at the most 10 sort of thing. But, each year is different.
Well, look at it this way: candy's very expensive this year, so you're saving yourself a lot of money if you get 3 or 4 trick or treaters.
Yeah, well, I still see the candy bowl full, so somebody's going to be eating that, right? So that's the bad part of it.
Trick or treat for Bruce for the next month.
I hope not. No, I really hope not. Yeah, that's the way it works out.
How are the corn yields?
So far, we're about, I don't know where we're at, about 20-25% in, but pretty phenomenal. Yeah,
good for you.
Some of the best corn we've combined, and over many years, that's for sure. So no, it's been looking good. I guess kernel kernel push in the late fall really brought the yields up and brought the bushels up for sure. Yeah.
So you're pretty happy with the result on that corn based on kind of the year. You didn't have tar spot in your area, did you?
No, we are just east of kind of where the tar spot. It looks like it's coming in the next year or two because it keeps just coming east and east. So, no, we haven't found any yet. Thank goodness. So it's been good. We do spray. We do fungicide spray on a lot of our corn, like at tassel. Definitely we evaluate on which fields needed, and we do quite a bit. We have our own sprayer to do that. So yeah, that might be helpful in the next couple of years when tar spot starts to really rage its ugly head here.
Yeah, absolutely. From a fall work perspective, what will you try to all get? Is there some other things you got to get done on the farm before the snow starts to fly and winter settles in?
We're really caught up, so we're starting to do some other projects that have been there. Well, some of them have been there for years. We just moved an excavator in to clean up some trees and stuff on a property, maybe crop a little bit more land on that property. So stuff like that, cleaning ditches for drainage. Stuff like that is getting done here now when we have most of our fall tillage is done. We no-till a lot of our grain corn ground, so we have very little fall tillage left. Most of the manure is out too, so we're sitting pretty good to do stuff that we sometimes don't get time to get at.
Yeah, and you've got livestock, right?
Yep. Yes, dairy and beef. Yeah.
Yep. And how has that been? Like the beef business is had a little bit better times as of late.
Yeah, like you saw a little bit of dip there in the summer, and then it just kind of raged right back, right? So yeah, the beef's been pretty good. We just started feeding on pastures here and getting them ready for the fall. We'll feed them on pasture now for the next month or so, the beef cows, and and so the beef side of the dairy too is still strong, and drop calves are very strong. You get a drop cross calf that's worth, $1,000, $1,100. It's crazy good. So,
production costs up in the dairy side?
Production costs are kind of up all around. We were just discussing that this morning. Receipts last year were up, but production costs are up as well. Some are kind of going more than others. I'm hoping with the commodity prices not being as high, that maybe some of the feed will come down a little bit. But I kind of haven't totally seen that yet, but I'm hoping it happens.
We got a U.S. election on Tuesday. Do you think either of the two candidates, or maybe it could be the same, or not really sure, but are either of the candidates, do you think, preferable for Canadian ag from a support perspective?
From what I'm looking at it, I don't see an advantage either way. I see that we're in for some turbulent times, I think, because I feel that they're both sending out a very protectionist message, and protectionist message is kind of not what we want to hear in Canada. I don't think it could be benefit. And if we became a little more protectionist and started using some of our resources a little better too, that might help. But that remains to be seen. Hopefully that happens. Yeah,
like you mean on stuff like oil and gas, or where do you think our leverage would be on that?
Definitely on oil and gas. That's just like this carbon tax and everything else. It's so, we're in the drying season now. So like, you're really seeing that added onto the bill, and it's frustrating. I guess that's the toned down version of the word I would use.
Yeah. Well, I would ask you how you really feel about the carbon tax, but this is a family program, Bruce. We got to keep it clean here on RealAg Radio, no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, hey man, good luck with the rest of your fall work, and completing about 75% of your corn harvest left. So all the best to you, and hopefully those yields continue all the way through. Okay.
Yep. Hopefully it seems good. So it's been a good finish this year, that's for sure.
Yeah, great to hear. We'll be right back on RealAg Radio and the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada.
Get ready for tillage season with the high-speed disc from Brandt. Cut and size residue, create ideal seed beds, and level ruts faster than any other tillage machine. It's a better field finish and fewer passes, so you can stay on schedule, no matter what fall throws at you. And right now, you can get yours with a $12,000 rebate. There's never been a better time to bring your operation up to speed. Visit Brandt.ca for details.
Peter Johnson at WheatPete, RealAgriculture.com. I'm the host of The Word, and I love doing The Word. I love the questions. I love the challenges. I love having to apply agronomics to all over the globe and areas outside of my normal jurisdiction. Also, I love the feedback the most, where growers challenge me, tell me about their plot results, help me to learn. The Word, absolutely the best part of my day.
If you only listen to RealAg Radio, you only get half the picture. For greater insight into the issues that affect farming, tune in to RealAgriculture.com. Crops, livestock, machinery, farm management, and the markets, even food and travel. Real Agriculture Online digs deeper into the topics that affect the way you work and live. So get connected today. Read, watch, and listen to the people who know at RealAgriculture.com.
Up next with the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. We're going to dip into Crystal City, Manitoba, and we're talking to Landon Friesen. Landon, how are we doing?
Good, yourself?
Hey, man, pretty good. So, harvest wrapped up?
Harvest is wrapped up, yep.
Okay. And how did we make out?
There was winners and losers, and wheat and corn were the winners, and canola was the loser.
That heat in July?
Yeah, we didn't get rain, most of July, and not till kind of mid to end of August. And I think that's, different than last year. Last year we had 4 or 5 inches of rain. We had a fantastic canola crop. This year we had, 15 to 20 inches of rain, and just couldn't do it.
Just shows you kind of timing is everything, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. And did you have soybeans?
No, we don't grow soybeans. We grow edible beans. So
okay. How did they make out?
Dry. Yeah, they were good. Quality was fantastic. Yield was average, and quality was top notch. So that was good.
Okay. And planning fully underway for 2025?
Yeah, we've got fertilizer down for what the planter is going to do for next year already, and I think we're looking forward to next year. And not much is changing. Maybe a few more beans.
Yeah.
Probably stay the same in canola. Everyone else is getting out of canola, which tells me I should stay in it.
the old contrarian play. When they say don't grow oats, what do? You grow oats.
You grow oats. Yeah.
Durham's another one like that
too. Guys are frustrated with canola, but I don't think there's gonna be much that's gonna be done.
Yeah, in end of October, it's a lot of talk. And
we're an emotional bunch.
We are. And it's similar in the U.S. when they're talking about corn, right? It can be that way too, right? The switch to beans. At the end of the day, people like growing corn. And we think about how many times wheat's been through this, where it's like, I'm never growing wheat again. Well, we still grow a lot of wheat. If everybody actually followed through on their threat not to grow wheat, we'd have a lot less wheat acres.
I get a kick out of, compared to corn and maybe some of the soybeans the guys can grow in the States, the guys always complain down there about the wheat, poverty wheat. But wheat has always been king on this farm for a lot of years. It always does well.
Yeah. And is that from a yield perspective or just a consistency
yield
or
and quality?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Just maybe that's the Canadian, that's part of the old, I'm not giving any credit to the wheat board here, but Canada is known for its quality and always push quality. So if you can do that with a bit of yield, then I think you come out ahead. So
I like the wheat board disclaimer there.
No, I didn't start farming until they were out the first year.
Oh, really?
That the market opened. It was my first year farming. Yeah.
Boy, did you miss out.
It sounds like I missed a good time.
Yeah, it was a great time. How many trick-or-treaters do you think you're going to get at the farm?
Oh, I'd be lucky to get 10.
10?
That would be big. Yeah.
Okay. And that's interesting. So that seems to be kind of the number where we continue to hear here is like that sort of 5, 10, maybe a year where it balloons, maybe a year where there's 0. The inconsistency of the amount of trick-or-treaters is really hard to figure out how much candy to buy.
Yeah, well, yeah, whatever you don't give out probably end up in the kids' lunches anyway.
Yeah, yeah. And do you have kids?
Yeah, I got 2. I got a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old.
Okay, are they still going out trick-or-treating?
I think they're heading out to town tonight. There's a bunch of people having a bonfire or something tonight, so I think they're going there. They got no school tomorrow, so.
Oh, look out. That sounds like fun. That sounds like a lot of fun. Hey, we've got a big U.S. election next week. It's been tying up a lot of the news oxygen for sure. Do you think one candidate or the other is better for Canadian ag?
Oh,
or the same, or
I
not sure?
might get some hate for this, but I think I'd be a little nervous if I was voting for Trump, because I know who's he got for the ag policies there. That's
oh, you're thinking about RFK Jr.
Yeah, I think he would really shake up the ag world in the U.S. a fair bit. But I mean, if I was down there and I could vote, I'd be voting Trump. But yeah, I think if a vote for Kamala doesn't change anything.
Kind of stays status quo, you think?
Yeah, I think markets stay the same. I don't think anything changes.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I got more excited the other day when I hear Liberals getting upset with their leader there. I thought some of them were across the floor or something. I was hoping that we could have an election this fall, but we'll see.
Doesn't that feel drawn out? Like it kind of feels a little bit inevitable that we're going to have an election and we're going to have a conservative government. At least if you believe a 20-point lead in the polls right now, and pollsters do get things wrong, but it kind of feels like sort of a foregone conclusion at this point. It almost feels like let's just have an election and be let's move on, right? Doesn't it feel like we're kind of we're stuck in like concrete?
We're just beating the dead horse. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. What are some of the big issues right now for your farm that you're thinking about and working on as we get into the winter time?
Oh, just equipment to the shop. We built a different shop this summer during the kind of right before harvest. So we're kind of slowly moving over into that and getting ready for next year. I think just the biggest thing is just maintaining older equipment and keeping things going. So, yeah.
Do you like doing the shop work?
I do. I enjoy being in the shop in the winter. It's a good place to be, and when spring rolls around and you feel ready and you're not scrambling, it's always good.
Yeah. What's kind of we've got the Canadian Farmer Sentiment Index coming out early next week in terms of how farmers are feeling about their financial outlook over the next 12 months. How do you feel about yours? Positive, negative, kind of neutral?
I would say positive. This year, I mean, canola was down, but all the other crops did pretty well. And I know there's guys in the Southwest, and where their yields were down and yields were down and prices are down. That's frustrating. So I can't say I'm anywhere close to the whole hum or not looking forward to next year. I'm positive about it at this point, but I know that's probably a regional answer.
Much land moving at all in Crystal City area?
Yeah, there seems to be every week in the paper. There seems to be a quarter here for sale, something there. I know we're down a bit in rented land for next year, but I don't. It'll be good.
What you said you got some rented land? Is that usually just cash rent? Do you do any crop share, or what does that usually look like? If you don't
you know what, we used to do a bit of crop share, and we've found that just cash rent is easiest. Whether it's most guys are, a payment in spring, payment in fall kind of thing, or that's kind of what we found has been normal, and it's just easier when it's just a cash rent that everyone can agree on. And we're not too interested in renting for a year or two. We want to rent longer term. We want to treat it like our own and build levels. And so,
yeah, it's always nice on some of those land rental deals where you truly can treat it like your own because you're in more of a longer term framework of the agreement, right? It's like
exactly, yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of renters that say, we're going to treat it like our own. Don't you worry. And it's a 2-year agreement, a 1-year agreement, even 3. If you can get that commitment from the landowner, you can follow through on it. I think really truly follow through on it.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I'm just not interested in 1 or 2 year deals. We want to be, if we're going to rent a piece of land, we want to rent it for a while.
Well, yeah, especially from an equipment standpoint, scaling up and scaling down, and that can be a nightmare on that side if you have to do so, right?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. You going to trade any equipment this year or anything? Look for anything in particular?
The one thing we will trade is probably combines again. That has been something we've started doing, is just flipping combines a little more. I mean, everything else has 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 hours on it, and we're good with that stuff. But the combines is that one piece that we find can make a harvest go much smoother for us. We can get it done in a timely manner. It always seems like we're fighting the weather. This year, I would say not, but other years, you're trying to get it off for that snowfall or whatever, and it's just one of those things that when you've got a good dealer and good warranty, and they'll be out there to get you going right away again versus bringing your combine back to the shop and tearing half of it apart to fix it. That's not making acres. So,
Kate, Landon, thanks so much for joining us here today on RealAg Radio for the Farmer Rapid Fire. All the best to you this fall, and hopefully I run into you at one of the events, conferences through the wintertime here.
Yeah, we'll run into you, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Shaun.
Absolutely. We'll be right back on RealAg Radio, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada.
Infuse some energy into your next corporate event, customer meeting, or conference with RealAg Radio, Canada's national agriculture radio show. Create a unique experience at your next event with host Shaun Haney, broadcasting RealAg Radio live on SiriusXM, featuring exciting guests, captivating interviews, and the latest news from the agriculture community. Contact advertising at RealAgriculture.com or call 587-787-1795 to book your on location with RealAg Radio today.
What were the issues in your fields this year? Did you do a soil sample? What is your soil sample telling you about some of the nutrient issues that you might be having going into next year? What herbicides did you use? What residues you might be concerned about? What weed issues did you have? What crop residues did you have? How well do you know your fields?
Get the answers to all the questions you have about your pulse crop at the Pulse School on RealAgriculture.com.
And we take the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada, to Watrous, Saskatchewan, and we're talking to Leslie Kelly. Leslie, how are we doing today?
It's a great day. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, happy Halloween.
Yes, happy Halloween. I'm excited to eat all the mini chocolate bars that my kids bring home.
What is your favorite?
Oh, Reese's Peanuts, Buttercup,
yeah,
Aero bars, Mars bars. Like I don't do the small little candies, but I like the chocolate bars.
You like the chocolate bars? Okay, well that is good. I love Reese's Peanut Butter Cup too. That is my favorite for sure.
Yeah, and they're so small now. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, there definitely has been some shrinkflation when it comes to Reese's.
And it's like not even a bite now.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, it's small. But I guess my body is thanking me for that one.
Well, that's true enough. Have you tried the white chocolate Reese's Pieces?
Ooh, you know what? I haven't. But I do like white chocolate.
They are quite good.
I hope I get some of those.
Yeah, they are quite good. How many trick-or-treaters will you get there at the farm?
Well, we live in
town. You live in town, though. So you're what, 200, 300, 400? What are you going to get?
Yeah, I bought 200 big chocolate bars, and my backup plan is then pop if I run out, or going into the kids' baskets and giving out their candy.
Raid the kids' bags to get it, redistribute to the neighbors.
But I don't know it because it's nice out, so we might get more kids. I don't know.
Oh, man. And do you get like those where like a van comes into the neighborhood and like 30 kids unload out of it? They're like professional trick-or-treaters.
Yes. You know what? Last year, a bus came in.
A bus. See, I live on one of those same kind of streets. It's insane.
It's I thoroughly enjoy it. You know, growing up on a farm and not having many trick-or-treaters, this is one of my favorite days.
Really?
Yeah, to see all the kids and being super extroverted, getting to talk to parents, and as they walk by, and I sit at the door and I enjoy it. It's the best.
Do you have an age restriction? Like if a 25-year-old walks up to the door and says trick or treat, are you giving them candy?
No, and we do give out beer.
You do give out beer.
Oh, yeah. It's such a great, being in a small town and the community that you see and the people and how much fun people are having. There's no age restrictions to candy.
Okay, fair enough. Harvest wrapped up in Watrous, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we wrapped up a few weeks ago now.
Okay. How are we feeling about the crop and how it did in 24 in Watrous?
We are feeling pretty good. Our yields were above average. Our quality was pretty good. So, when prices are down, this is the year that will work out well for us.
Okay. Well, that's a positive because there's been some dry years in Watrous as of late, no?
Yeah, we've gone through quite extensive drought. 21, we didn't have much of a crop. 22 was okay. 23 was average. And then this year we had some timely rains that really helped. So, our lentils did really well. I think it was our best lentil crop. Our wheat, our hard red, average 60, so above average. And our canola did okay. I think the really hot, dry weather hurt it in July, but it still averaged well.
Okay. And you got plans in place? You're working on 25 yet? You thinking about it?
Yes. Crop plans are getting solidified. Right now it's a mad dash for all the field work and cleanup, and I'm working on, so there's 5 businesses that I have to do all the books for. So I'm wrapping up 2024, and then on to the next year.
Do you like doing that? You have a proficiency for numbers. Do you like doing the book work?
Yes and no. I like numbers. I like making plans. I like seeing the outcomes. I like projections. But I need a good mix where if I'm in the office for too long, then put me in a tractor for a day or two.
Get me out of here.
Get me out of here.
Yeah. There's a lot of fall work that's going to be complete in Western Canada. Like come springtime, people are going to be able to, like, as soon as that soil is fit and the weather is okay, people are going to be able to go because everybody got their fall work done. Like, I don't know who didn't.
Yeah, we got like all of our spraying done, our harrowing, our working the sloughs, all of the yard work. So yeah, it's been, I think, a really great, productive year. We're feeling good.
Oh, that is awesome. You know what I think a lot of people feel good about? When the election on Tuesday is over.
Yes.
Do you
when
think
all the elections are done?
Well, yeah. Well, and we should talk about Saskatchewan first. So the Mo government, the Sask party, was reelected. A little bit less seats than they had previously. As the NDP, I think, doubled their seats. I guess they lost some support in some of the cities.
Yeah, which I thought it's not surprising given just the state of, I think, the economy and the world right now, or even across Canada. So the results to me weren't surprising.
Yeah. The U.S. side of the border, the election's on Tuesday. Do you think, whether it's Vice President Harris or former President Trump, do you think either will be better or worse for Canadian agriculture, or about the same?
Oh, I don't. My farm hat says Trump would be better, but I just with him, I'm always curious as to what his next move will be.
Yeah,
you never know.
There is some unpredictability there. That's we could say that for sure. And in Canada, eventually we'll have an election. That seems to be quite in turmoil as well. What's your readout there? How soon do you think we're going to have an election?
I don't know. Yeah, based on the last couple days. Well, last week I thought, won't be for a while, but in the last couple days, having behind closed doors meetings and maybe a secret ballot vote. So I don't know. It might be sooner than later.
I did something super cool this week. I was at Allen, Saskatchewan, and I toured the Nutrien potash mine.
Did you? That's on my bucket list.
It needs to be.
I am so excited to hear how your experience was.
Yeah, I got a bunch of pictures. I put some of them on Instagram and Twitter. I'm going to put a post together and put it on RealAgriculture.com of just kind of I don't know, you call it a photo essay. I'm not sure what you call it. But just to kind of show off some of the pictures. It is unbelievable. 650 people from that area working in that mine, and Nutrien has 6 of them. And wow. It's that to think that product it's been in the earth for 360 million years, being mined out and shipped all over the world out of Saskatchewan.
Yeah, it's so cool, and I'm so proud to, for our province, the province that I live in, to have such amazing resources that are used around the world, and especially when it comes to growing food. Like, we help grow food everywhere. And I have lots of friends who work at the mine, and hearing their stories and their experiences and the environment that they work in, like, I would love to go underneath and see that.
Yeah. You bring up a very good point. I agree with you. That is truly feeding the world, as a resource coming out of Saskatchewan. And the other part of it too is, you mentioned, a lot of people that work at the Nutrien mine. I got that sense. There was like this level of pride that they had, that they're mining this very critical nutrient, and they're doing it safely, and they are shipping it by rail everywhere. Like not just to be used in Saskatchewan or Canada. The U.S. is a huge market, but all over Asia. Like I just sensed a real pride. And people, I sat beside the guy for lunch that he had worked there 25 years.
Wow.
And,
yeah, they're so important to our community. Like the way that they give back, the amount of employment that comes from the mines, like it helps our province thrive and grow, and it helps my small town. So yeah, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Well, Leslie, I know I'm going to see you somewhere during the winter as convention and meeting season is about to begin. Let's make sure we run into each other, and I would love to chat face to face.
Yeah, I can't wait for event season.
Well, it's going to be here very quickly. Hey, Leslie, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back on RealAg Radio, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada.
Advanced canola trait technology is here. And it's soon to be the talk of the town. Optimum Glide delivers excellent yield potential and agronomic trait performance. Improved crop safety, enhanced weed control, and a wider window of application. You're going to want to see this. Learn more at OptimumGlide.ca.
There's a reason we call it the Corn School. Videos on everything from planter setup to weed control, field trial results, and the latest yield strategies. The Corn School on RealAgriculture.com has the information and advice you need to help you succeed. Brought to you by Pride Seeds and BASF. Corn School episodes are available at cornschool.com, from realagriculture.com, or as a podcast in your favorite podcast app. Check out the latest Corn School episode today.
And we finish up today's Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada in Alberta. And we're talking to Pioneer Seeds agronomist Doug Moisey. Doug, how are we doing?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
Hey, man, I'm doing pretty good. Okay, so again, what's your territory?
Basically Barhead down to Wetaskiwin and across to Provost and then up into the Cold Lake, St. Paul region.
Okay, so
like rectangle.
Yeah. So how have the canola yields been?
All over the map. We got some guys that, because of the, we'll call it lack of proper timing of rain, are in the 30s. I've got a few guys that are in the 60s, the odd guys in the 70, 80. Whole fields, probably 60 average in a few locales in the Edmonton area. But I think overall field averages, I think if I go through my territory, probably about 40 as an average, if we're lucky.
And where would that 40, does that 40 bring like, that's not bad, or is it bring disappointment? What does that 40 mean for that area?
40 for some guys is disappointment. There was 60 bushel straw, but there was 40 bushels that going into the bin, and there's some mitigating factors in the background. One of them being is just that second heat. Some of those fields were actually going into shutdown mode when that second wave of heat came in, and because of lack of moisture, seeds just didn't fill properly. So I've had a few guys tell me that the seed size is very small on their farms in some areas, again, depending on location. The other thing that happened too is that there was a lot of blackleg, and it was just not just Pioneer fields. It was everybody's fields was experiencing blackleg to some degree. And in some locations where I talked to a few guys, they figured they lost yield because of blackleg this year, just because there was early infection, and some of it came in that second petiole, that second leaf stage. And that's when nobody was really paying attention. We were just cruising along. And so you got blackleg. And then the odd field where guys have told me is they said their ground got hard as cement and their root systems just didn't need to be where they needed to be, and they could see it. And then you go down the road 2-3 miles where a guy caught a rain shower and there's 60 bushel straw and there's 60 bushel canola. So I really think this is me and me only, but I really think what happened is the day the canola came out of the ground, you were already predestined. This is what your yield was, and there was no way around it. You weren't getting anywhere else. And so, I just can't explain some of the reasons why some of the fields didn't yield. But when you start looking back at, moisture, heat, when it came into flowering, when it came out of flowering, when it matured, now you can start to see the pattern kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
now that black leg pressure, you talked about kind of the why there. From a 2025 perspective, what do I have to keep in mind? Is it hybrid selection? Are there other things I can do? What do I need to be considering there?
Okay. And I got to stand on my soapbox, but at the end of the day,
I love a good Doug Moisey soapbox.
My soapbox is rotation, rotation, rotation. We've built up a spore load inoculum that could, if conditions are right, is going to basically plague us for the next couple of years. And, I can go to 1 and 3 on that field that had blackleg, but the problem is if you just went across the road because it was cereals this year and you put in canola in, you're not doing yourself any favors. Yes, hybrid selection is going to play a role, but the biggest thing here is that we've got to get away from 1 and 2. And unfortunately, because of economics, it's a tough sell. But we really built up the populations. This has probably been the worst since 2016. And so for the next couple of years, somewhat next year, but the year after, especially for the guys on 1 and 2, we could have some problems because that's typically when we see ascospore production is on the second year stubble. And that's where we could see a lot of blackleg spore spreading via air very quickly here early if the conditions are right here, especially not this year, but next year or year after, I should say 2026, but 2025 has potential. And we had one of our scientists who specializes in blackleg. He was out looking and he figures is that there was a lot of spores in the air about the 2-leaf stage, 3-leaf stage in canola, especially in that Edmonton area. And a lot of fields did get hit. And so, like I said, there's no set pattern to who's got it, but the thing is that every seems to be that is suffering is tight rotations. And so, we can select hybrids, but we've got to watch our plant stands. And that was one thing I would say is that where we saw heavier blackleg pressures, the plant stands were thicker. And we're probably into that 8 to 12 plants. And so typically we find thinner stem wall allows for more infection, and we had slow growing conditions early in June. Things were not progressing slowly. We had a lot of canola sitting at 2-3-leaf stage for 2-3 weeks, which allowed for blackleg to really set foothold. So going forward for next year, yeah, hybrid selection is going to help. Rotation is probably going to be the number one thing we have to think about. And then we may even have to start considering is that, okay, if I've got a bad history of blackleg right across the road and I'm going in next door, maybe I need to think about a fungicide first pass just to help offset. Now, not all fungicides are effective, and so some guys are going to have to do some research and to figure out what is going to be the most effective way to do this. But I got to stand on my soapbox. We need to get a second crop.
or maybe a third.
Or a third.
Yeah, so does now right when you say rotation, I think cereal. But is it okay if that other crop is a pulse?
Yeah, that's fine. Pulse is fine. If you go to a pulse, the thing is, if you go a cereal, then a pulse, the one watch out would be the following year, especially if it's like peas, would be sclerotinia. Now, the nice thing about canola following peas in the rotation is that the actual sclerotinia window becomes this tight. It's a very tight window. So typically you don't see the infection, whereas if you go to canola, then peas. So, it's just a matter of, but again, it's going to come back down to the simple economics. Guys are looking at what's going to put money in their pocket. Canola is a cash crop, but at the end of the day, we've got to find something, whether it's oats, whether it's peas, I don't know. But for the guys that have bad blackleg this year on that pea particular quarter that you saw it was that bad, we need to think about what can I do for 2 years just to take the pressure off, And maybe it's an oat contract on that field. Who knows? And it's not for me to say what you have to do, but it's just because I don't know what is going on their farms. But from my end of it, we have to figure out how to manage it. And like I said, this is the worst since 2016. But in the next couple of years, depending upon how you look at what's going to happen with weather, but with them talking La Nina is going to make its presence shown, we could have conditions that are going to be very right for blackleg again next year. So hard to say.
Doug, really appreciate your insights. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you again soon, okay?
Sounds good. Have a good day.
If you have any feedback on today's show, you could send me an email, shaney@realagriculture.com. You can also find Real Agriculture across all the different social media platforms. You're also more than welcome to call the Real Ag feedback line. Now, that number is 855-776-6147. Everyone have themselves a great and safe Halloween. Happy Halloween to all of our listeners out there across the Real Agriculture audience. And thank you so much for getting real and getting connected with Real Ag Radio, brought to you today by Pioneer Seeds Canada. Cheers, everybody.